Oo. Hola, Mexico.
From a distance, the screams of thousands of people echoed like a relentless wave crashing into the city center. Cell phone cameras were held high, posters bearing the names of the BTS members fluttered in the air, and the streets leading to the Zócalo were packed with people as far as the eye could see. No one expected a South Korean band to make Mexico's hearts beat so fast. Within hours, nearly 1 million people had packed the historic area for one purpose only: to witness BTS's arrival. And when Taehyung finally appeared on the balcony of the presidential palace, his single sentence instantly caused the entire crowd to erupt in tears and cheers. This is going to be history. It wasn't just any ordinary celebrity welcome. From early morning, fans had filled every corner of the Zócalo. Some came carrying Mexican and South Korean flags. Others were willing to spend the night on the sidewalk to get the best spot, and some even traveled hours from other cities just to catch a glimpse of BTS. The atmosphere felt like a giant festival, melding millions of emotions into one. BTS's music was playing everywhere, and every song was instantly sung along by thousands without any prompting. Among the crowd, faces filled with anticipation were visible. Many fans cried before the BTS members appeared. For them, this group wasn't just a collection of idols, but a symbol of hope, a spirit of life, and an escape from difficult times. A young fan holding a light stick whispered that she had been waiting for this moment for 7 years. Meanwhile, a mother came with her young child, simply to show that music can unite different generations. As the sun began to set, the atmosphere suddenly became increasingly tense. Security tightened. Official vehicles began entering the presidential palace grounds, and all eyes were on the main balcony. Thousands of people immediately jostled for the best positions. The screams grew louder with every slight movement from behind the palace windows. No one wanted to miss a single second of this historic moment. Then finally, the balcony doors opened. The resulting explosion of sound felt like a small earthquake in downtown Mexico City. The BTS members walked out, waving to their fans. The sea of people below instantly erupted into mass hysteria. Some cried uncontrollably, while others jumped and shouted the names of their favorite members. Even from a distance, the fans' chants could be heard, blending together like a giant choir. Taehyung stood at the front of the balcony with a wide smile, seemingly in disbelief at the sheer number of fans before him. He stared out at the sea of people for a few seconds before finally picking up the microphone. Thousands of people fell silent, waiting for his every word. And when Taehyung declared that the night would be historic, the fan screams shattered the atmosphere. Many began to cry even louder, realizing they were part of a moment that might never be repeated. President Claudia Sheinbaum, who had met with BTS earlier, also smiled at the overwhelming enthusiasm. The meeting itself symbolized the immense influence of South Korean culture worldwide, especially in Latin America. Not many artists have the opportunity to stand on the main balcony of the Mexican presidential palace, greeted by hundreds of thousands of people. Even local media described the atmosphere at the Zócalo that night as one of the largest crowds ever seen for an entertainment event. But what made it all the more emotional was how BTS has always felt a special connection with their fans. They come not just to perform, but also to talk about their dreams, struggles, and self-confidence. That's why many people are willing to wait for hours under the hot sun just to see them smile. For ARMY, every encounter with BTS feels like a huge reward after a long life. In the crowd, some fans were seen hugging each other and crying. Some couldn't believe they were finally seeing BTS in person after years of only watching them through their phone screens. Others continued to wave large posters bearing messages of love for the members. The moment demonstrated that music transcends language and culture. No matter where they came from, everyone at Zokalo that night felt like one big family. Many initially doubted whether the enthusiasm for BTS in Mexico was truly as great as it seemed online. But that night, all doubts were immediately answered. Zócalo became concrete proof that the BTS phenomenon wasn't just a passing fad. They had grown into a global icon, uniting millions of people from various countries in a shared love. Even more surprising, several international media outlets began comparing BTS's reception to visits by world figures. The sheer number of fans filling Zócalo was considered extraordinary for a music group. Even many locals unfamiliar with BTS came just to see for themselves the massive phenomenon unfolding in their city. Amidst all the excitement, the BTS members were seen repeatedly exchanging glances with awe. They seemed genuinely moved by how warmly their music was being received in another part of the world. JIMIN smiled continuously as he filmed the crowd with his phone. Jungkook waved non-stop, and RM nodded repeatedly, as if trying to memorize every moment. Meanwhile, Taehyung once again became the center of attention when he looked at the fans and placed his hand on his heart. This simple gesture immediately sent thousands of people into hysterical screams. Many fans said they felt appreciated and loved by their idols. This emotional connection is what gives BTS such a strong bond with armies worldwide. Soon, spontaneous singing began to emerge from the crowd. Thousands of people sang along to BTS's songs without any musical accompaniment. The moment was magical, as the entire Zócalo seemed to transform into a giant, open-air concert. Even some BTS members were visibly moved by the sound of their fans singing along passionately in Korean. For Mexico City itself, BTS's arrival was a major cultural event. Hotels were full, restaurants were packed with tourists, and the local economy was buoyed by the millions of fans who came from all over the city. Many small vendors around the Zócalo reported making significant profits during the event. This phenomenon demonstrates how music can have a tangible impact on the economy. But more than anything, what mattered most was the feeling the fans felt that night. They came with their own stories, but they left with the same memories. A night when they stood under the Mexico City skyline, watching BTS wave from the balcony of the presidential palace. And as the BTS members slowly made their way back into the palace, the fans' voices grew louder. No one wanted the moment to end. Many continued to call out the members' names, hoping they would appear once again. Tears, laughter, and screams mingled in the cold night. Some fans even lingered around the Zócalo until the early hours of the morning, sitting on the sidewalks, talking about their experience. Some were still shaking in disbelief at seeing Taehyung in person, while others kept replaying the video on their phones, crying tears of joy. For them, that night wasn't just about music, but about a dream finally coming true. And perhaps that's why Taehyung's words felt so powerful. This is going to be history. Because that night, amidst the sea of people filling Mexico's Zócalo, the world witnessed how music can unite millions of hearts, regardless of language, culture, or distance. BTS didn't just come as a global music group. They came as a symbol of hope, love, and togetherness. A night that will live on in fans' memories long after the lights of the Zócalo have gone out.